All right, guys, it's time for the Edmonton Oilers season preview. Back-to-back Stanley Cup losses. Look, it's not the worst, at least there. You could say that. I know it's not the best thing. Most people don't
Doesn't
like
doesn't
hearing
help the
it, but
wound.
it definitely doesn't help the wound. But you have to be there to win it, and the Oilers were there the last two seasons, so that's some positives. And you never know. Maybe it's third time lucky going into this season. So they've still got a pretty strong team. But to have a look at that, let's get Jaden to take us through the lineup.
Alrighty, so at the cap space, pretty much nothing in the bank to play with. Starting up in the forward group, obviously you got the Draisaitl and McDavid. McDavid in his contract year. Hyman, Nugent Hopkins, Frederick, Manjapani, Henrique, Janmark, Kapanen, Tomasek, Podkolzin, Howard, Savoy, and Lazar. Defense, Bouchard, Nurse, Ekholm, Woolman, Kulak, Emberson, Stetcher, and then goalies, the Skinner Picard. No changes there. Yeah, okay, I guess I'll go into the outs. It's a bit of a list, but we'll get through it. So there was Ronnie Attard, but Connor Brown, New Jersey goes to New Jersey for 4 years. Klingberg moves on. Scory Perry leaves. Jeff Skinner leaves. And there was a few other players, but they didn't really play too much. Coaching changes. They've got new goalie coach, new power play coach, trying to improve those areas. And look, it makes sense in regards to the goalie coach, but maybe goalie player instead of goalie coach. Who knows? All in all, I'll go through the other outs they did through trades because they traded Evander Kane for a fourth just to free up cap space and move him away. And that was pretty much it in regards to trades for that year. Then they did get Isaac Howard for Sam O'Reilly, and they traded away Victor Arvidsson for a fifth for some more cap space as well, and to move that player on. Free agent signings, obviously mentioned Curtis Lazar as a depth there. Manjapani, pretty much the big contract there that comes in. And then Isaac Howard, entry level contract. We'll see how if he plays and how much he plays. But it's relying on the youngster there. All in all, my opinions, the team gets worse, which is crazy to think when we just did Florida and you can check out Florida video and they didn't really get worse. So
Yeah.
and they won the cup and this team didn't. So it makes it even harder to see this team getting over the hump again.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, they put in some big money into Draisaitl and Bouchard this offseason with the new contracts. But yeah, no cap space. The team gets worse. I don't know. I don't see it happening like unless miracles from the big names. What about yourself?
Yeah. Well, I think I'm not gonna bet against the McDavid and Draisaitl carrying this team to another a Stanley Cup final because they've proven they can do it. They've proven that they can be the shittest team in the league up until 30 games in the season and then just come out and dominate and make the playoffs and then run to the final. So and especially Connor McDavid in a contract year. I mean, you see most players generally have a career best year in their contract year. Connor McDavid's career best year would like something like 160 points, crying out. Can you imagine if he has a career year in his contract year? He's going to get 20 put up
Oh, sorry,
70
your
points
mic's
a season.
cutting out. You want to speak a little closer or something?
Oh no, that's not good. I don't like that.
Don't die.
Um, but yeah, so yeah, Connor McDavid in his contract year could have an absolute career year like so many players do. I'm not going to bet against them to not do this, but I do agree with you. Like their team has struggled a little bit. The inclusion of Isaac Howard and play massive roles into whether or not, that they see an effect on those players being lost. I mean, Evander Kane didn't really play a lot season until the playoffs. Arvidsson was okay. Scory Perry's especially that veteran. So I think they can replace players. It's just that's the issue with having really expensive players. Leon Draisaitl, 14 million. He got a $6 million raise. Evan Bouchard got
Yeah, a
uh,
lot of money went into those guys.
well,
And
the cap went up.
I have my doubts on the Bouchard, but for
Yeah,
four
the
years
cap went
anyway.
up massively. But yeah, oh, look, 4-year contract at 10.5. I know the cap is going up, but the fact that that's not an 8-year contract is really poor for me because, like, if it was 8 by 10.5, you can go cap's it's gonna even out eventually. It's gonna work, but by the time it's probably the end of his contract, that's when he may be playing to that contract's worth,
Yeah,
and then he's
it'll
up
be
for
peak.
renewal,
Yeah,
and then he's up
2029.
for renewal, and he's literally getting 14,
Yeah,
15
look,
million
Oilers. I wouldn't say cap management is their forte. Um,
the
I'll
new
just
Leafs.
I would just say like it hasn't been good. You got the Darnell Nelson 9.25. I don't mind Darnell Nurse as a player. If he was on like 6 mil or something. Um, and then as much as you love McDavid, Draisaitl, when eating that much cap, it hurts. Um, this team just doesn't have any depth scoring. They've added decent names. Like I do like Manjapani, but he kind of just replacing Arvidsson there. Um, I like Lazar. Came from New Jersey. He plays a really good, tough game, really good, but he's not going to score you points. Like
Mm,
he's a really good fourth liner. He's a good energy liner. But he's not going to score, and that's what this team's missing. It has been missing for a long time, and they just don't have the cap to add that, which is
mm,
crazy because it's depth. They lose Scory Perry to the LA Kings, which is a division rival, someone they meet in the playoffs. I'm predicting that LA win against Oilers in the playoffs in the first or second round, wherever they meet
what do you
up.
reckon?
And
Fifth
Scory
time
Perry
lucky for
does
the
good.
Kings.
I'm
Fifth time
predicting that.
lucky for the Kings. Is that
Yeah,
what you're saying?
I reckon Kings go somewhat deep, if not deep, because of Corey Perry. I would love to see them Kings win just so Corey Perry lifts the cup. If that was the case, but yeah, you lose a really key piece in regards to playoffs, in
Mm,
scoring and depth, and he was cheap player. He's only 2 million on the Kings, um, and it's going to a division rival. So, and this team just doesn't seem to get better in the area. Sure, like new goalie coach and power play coach might help in those areas.
mm,
But I just feel like they've lost more than they've gained, and other teams around them have gained more than they've lost in
yeah,
regards to competing for the cup. And Connor McDavid, contract year when his sign, if he does sign with the Oilers, that new cap that's going up just gets eaten by McDavid again. So they don't even get new cap space in the new cap era next
yeah.
year. So
That's the
I
wild
can't
part,
I
isn't
can't
it?
see this team winning.
Yeah, because like you think Leon at 14, they might get away with McDavid at 16, and I think it's far too much, but I think that would be a win.
I mean,
Um,
you got to live in Edmonton, and it is cold in Edmonton. Like you're talking about
but
Florida tax and stuff. Like there's a tax to live in cold areas like that.
yeah, but
Yeah.
yeah, like 3.5 million. The crazy thing for me, this is, um, especially on the McDavid contract side. Obviously, he hasn't signed yet, but trying to convince him that there's a reason to stay and a reason to sign is generally around well, mate, we're pretty close. We're gonna win it. We're gonna get there eventually. And like you said, they didn't really improve this season from last season. Um, McDavid's gonna sign an extension, which is gonna eat up cap. Yes, they've got like Henrique's out 3 million, Ekholm's out 6 million, Jake Warman out, Kulak out. So they get like 15 mil there. But you got to replace those players.
Mm.
Like that's basically their entire defense needs to be replaced or re-signed next year. So, you're gonna eat most of that with
And the
either
goaltending.
re-signing these, and then you've got to address the goaltending because, are you gonna stick with Skinner and Pickard, which we were surprised that they did. Like I'm surprised they haven't made a change yet.
Yeah,
One of them
I'm really
would be
surprised.
changed.
Like
Yeah,
moving one of them made sense. Yeah.
I'm not surprised they've kept Skinner. I'm surprised they've kept Pickard. Like I thought they would have moved him on,
Yeah, well,
and
Skinner's
they
26. Like you would run with that. He's not even at the age where goalies start peaking. So yeah,
exactly. I've got my gripes with Skinner, but at
yeah,
his best, he can like he can take you to Stanley Cup finals, crying out loud. Like but I did expect them to replace Pickett and bring in someone else. They haven't. They don't have the space to really do it either, which makes it
it's a
tough.
cheap goaltending
Um,
term too. 3.6. Like
yeah.
it's not like they're overpaid on a goaltender or something. Like
Yeah, but
it's
then like I know this is obviously
you
this
do have dead
season.
cap on Campbell, but yeah,
Yeah, I know that it's this season that we're talking about right now, but for me, trying to convince Connor McDavid to stay past this season is the crucial thing to getting him signing. You win a cup and he probably signs no matter what. But
mm,
if you don't win the cup, if you go backwards this season, you look at next season and all the work they've got to do to make this team better. And where are you going to find that cap space, especially if you find McDavid for 16 or 18 or whatever he's asking for? How do you improve this team where your cap space on so low? Stuart Skinner's going to want an increase on that at some point. So you're almost
yeah,
going to
you're probably
spend
looking at like 4 million plus for Skinner when he resigns.
exactly. You're gonna spend more on Skinner next year than you are on your two goalies this year, and then same with your defense. Like these players aren't just gonna like the cap doesn't just disappear. You're not just gonna go replace all these guys with and hey, we've got cap. Yes, there's people coming off, but you got to replace them. Ekholm, $6 million, but you need a $6 million player to replace Ekholm. Like you're
Look,
not.
honestly, they got a
Yeah.
core four, same as the Leafs. The best thing about this core four is that there's two on forward, two on D.
Mm,
Not like the Leafs where it was all forwards. So that's where the balancing act happens. The problem is, at least one of the core four doesn't pull the weight in Nurse. I'd argue Bouchard doesn't as well. I know he does crazy points in the playoffs and whatnot, but his defense is an issue.
mm,
He doesn't get exposed as much in the playoffs, I think, because teams play a different style in the playoffs. But you saw in the cup final with what was it, Marchand and Bennett. When they started, those two players drove at the defense. You saw him and the others fall apart, and
yeah.
but instead of doing the dump chase style that happens in the playoffs. And when those two players started driving, they fell apart. And once people start realizing, hey, just drive at him, yeah, it's GG. And
Mm,
look, he's getting better every year. He's 25, going to improve. But all I'm saying, there's a lot of money tied up. Four players, you could argue two don't perform up to that level at all times. You could argue the other two overperform at times. Um,
massively.
yeah, but at the end of the day, like 14 million is a lot of the cap.
Mm,
16 million if McDavid gets it, a lot of the cap. They do have some good contracts like the Hymans and Nugent Hopkins, but yeah, I just worry that they're lacking the core middle six and like middle four defender depth that a cup winning team does have. And
mm,
that Florida has, I think Dallas have. Kings are looking to get it now. They got Corey Perry. Like, yeah, it worries me. It worries me, and I don't
yeah.
foresee good times ahead. Like, no, I think they'll still make playoffs. I think the Pacific's still weak. It's got some gripes there, but you know, I do want to see that Kings matchup because I think that'd be interesting with Corey Perry.
Do you know what? I agree sense that would be interesting to see, the score carry stuff, destined to make the cup, destined to lose it, stuff. And especially given a fifth year in a these two meet. over the Kings and Oilers. It's I I'm sorry, but
Well, like
Jesus Christ.
Kings should have won last year, and then they beat themselves. That's my
Yeah.
gripe. They haven't changed coach, and the coach beat himself. It wasn't the Oilers beating the Kings. The Kings beat themselves. So the Kings are their own strength, but they are their own weakness.
Hmm.
I think it's the
Yeah.
big thing there. But that's a pro thing for the Oilers going along.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean,
I'm just not really. I don't have the positive outlook. I know 2 Stanley Cup berths is crazy,
mhm,
and it's hard to see that as a failure. But when you look at like we're talking about Connor McDavid, Draisaitl, and whatnot. Like it feels like if you're not winning the cup, no matter what, it's a failure. Um,
mm.
Even if you make it to the cup final. So
Oh, and
yeah,
that's what McDavid would be looking at it like. He'd be saying to himself, like, we've the last 2 seasons, yeah, we made the cup final. First season, you could say we were 1 game away. That maybe wasn't a failure. Like we
mm.
finally made it. We took it all the way. But I can guarantee you, season just gone, he is looking at it a total and utter failure.
And like people don't. These are people. They
Hmm.
have psychological things, and it plays on you psychologically when you get into the playoffs to get in certain situations, and you're like, oh no, not again.
Yeah.
Um, And so having that happen to a lot of this core for 2 years could be detrimental in regards to psychology going
Oh,
into future.
anyone wants to know about psychology, just ask the Kings.
Or the Leafs,
Just
Leafs in
ask
Game Sevens.
Leafs in game sevens. Kings after they were 2-0 up and should have been 3-0 up, all
Hmm.
of a sudden
I
lost
think
that
that's
game.
I think that's purely coaching. I know we're not talking
Mate,
about the Kings,
so,
but that's purely coaching.
so do I, but that's what I'm saying with the psychological.
Mm.
You could almost see it in the Kings at a point where they just went, "Oh no, not again."
Yeah,
And that is something that does play a
yeah.
part. And
Dallas's old coach did that with the goaltending. Oh no, not again, and that's why he lost his job.
repeated it more. Yeah,
Um,
exactly. So it does have an effect. You are 100% correct.
yeah. And I don't
Yeah,
think anybody's talking about that, but
even
it's sitting there.
McJesus,
Yeah.
even McJesus can be susceptible. So
How dare you talk about my God like that?
okay,
Anyway, he is no mortal man.
yeah,
All right.
yeah.
I don't have much more to add. I do think playoffs. I do think if they run into the Kings, I think that's going to be very interesting. And I think they might lose, honestly, and Kings get over the hump there. So I think first, second round exit, honestly, in a Connor McDavid contract year, and then whatever
Mhm,
Connor McDavid does. So, in my opinion, I don't see good outcomes at the end of this year for the Oilers. But I guess I'm
mhm.
being was it pessimistic?
Pessimistic. Yeah. Look, I I don't want to. I wouldn't bet against Connor McDavid. I could see him carrying them, but again, this is purely from just a spectator side of things. I don't want another Florida Edmonton series. We've had
Yeah,
two. That's
yeah.
enough.
I
All
want
right. I'm
two different
sorry.
teams. I want two different
If
teams.
I would like two completely different teams, but if one of these two, the other one can't be. So if
Yeah.
Florida's going to do a three-peat, Edmonton's not the team losing. If Edmonton's going to make the cup final, Florida ain't doing a three-peat. It's just I don't want that series again. It was entertaining. I did enjoy it, but I like to see some variety.
Yeah.
But yeah, I could see them get bounced in the first round. I could see them making the cup final. Just how erratic this team is, so it's hard to predict.
Yeah. Yeah. Man. All right. Let us know in the comments below what you think the Oilers, how their cup chances are. Does McJesus sign? Does he not? When how much does he get paid? And yeah, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment below, and check out our other videos. But till next time, we'll catch you guys.
I guess.